Hi, so in today's lesson we are going to talk about list. So list is a composite variable, which means that it combines a lot of simple variables in one list. So in this lesson we are going to talk about the concept of list, how to define a list, and by the way we'll talk a little bit about tuple. Tuple is very similar to list. And we are going to talk about the operation of list, including access item, change the items in list, add item, and copy a list. And we are going to talk about other operations which you can look it out when you need those functions. Okay, so let's try the code first. So how to a list is a collection which is in order and changeable, while a tuple is also a collection, but it's not changeable. So for us computer science students, there's a lot of different other concepts for tuple to master. But for finance student, you just need to know that tuple is a collection which cannot be changed. So okay, so let's try the first code, how to define a list here. Okay, we run the first cell. I have run the first cell here. So we see that we define free list. That's A1, A2, A3. So A1, A2, A3 is free list. So A is an empty list, and A2 is a list with 5 elements with 5 items in it, and A3 is also a list with several items in which the item is not the same type. So we can see if we double click here, we will open the what is inside A3. So we can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 elements in A3, and each item is different type. Okay, so that's a list. So this is how to define a list. By the way, so list is use square bracket and commands to separate, and each one is one item of the list. So and for tuple, use a bracket and command to purpose to separate. So this is a way to define a list and define a tuple. So about the operations. So after we have defined the tuple, we want to access the items in the tuple. So we in Python we use the index to access the item. So and be very careful that in Python the index starts from 0. So A0 and A0. So A0 is you just use A2. So we can see that A2 A0 is 1. The index 0 means the first item in A3 in A2, so it's 2 or 2. So okay, let's delete it. Let's run these several lines. F9. We can see that A is a list. A2 and A is both list, and it contains 5 items, and the item is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And like for example, we use A0 with a square bracket, and we can use a square bracket to access the item in list. Definitely, if we will write A2, there will be 3. So A2, you see A2, and we got 3. Also, this is the same way for you to access a tuple. Let's write B2 is a tuple here. B0 we will get B2 0. So B2 is the name of the tuple, right? So B2 0. So by writing B2 square bracket 0, I will access the first item in B2. That's 1. Yeah, that's 1. So the accessed tuple and accessed item in tuple and accessed item in list is the same operations. Just be careful because some students think that they use bracket to define a tuple, and so that's and they use bracket to access the tuple, which is incorrect. So this will be return a mistake because there's no. So that's what part of the issue. No. Okay, so about access tuple, we can use index number, and we can also doing a negative indexing. So for example, if we write a -1, that will be the last one item in A. That's 5. So and -2, that would be there will be the last second item. And we can not only just access one item in the list, we also can access a range of index, which we call slice. So just let's try the code here. We run here line 35 to line 38. So C2 and from C2 to C4. So we can use this number index, first index and last index, with I don't know, with this signal to say that I want to access a list, a slice of the list. Okay, so let's see what it means. So C2, A1 to 2. So it will include the first index. So it will include this number. It include these items, but it do not include the last number here. It's 2, right? The 2 here. So it will only return a list of 1. And so we can see C2. That's a list of 1. It contains only one item, and the type of item is int. So be careful. If I write A1, it will return a number. It will return a type of int, and it's 2. But if I write A1 to 2, so it will also return one. It will also return one something contain one number, but the type of this one is different. It's totally different. You can see here. There's a list, and the list contain only one item. Is 2. Just be careful here. So you can see C1 is int and C2 is list. Okay. So and also in slice you can use negative indexing. So you can see the C4 here. That's the A from the first one to the last one, excluded the last one. So this 1, 2, 3 index 1 to 3, that will be 2, 3, 4 in, right? So it will be 2, 3, 4 in the C4. Just try it out by yourself. That's very important. So okay, so after how we know how to access item, we will also know how to change items in list. So change item is by assignment. Assignment is very simple. So it's the way you assess the items in this, and do an assignment here that will help you change the items in the list. Okay, so let's check this code first. So this code A0 be assigned to 100. So let's run this code. You can see that A0 become 100 now. So here is also one very important thing. The concept could be a little bit difficult, but I think you should know that. So why in this sample I use first assign this list to A2, and then assign A2 to A. So actually in computer, both A2 and A is point to this this place is point to this memory in the computer. So if I change A0, so if I change this one A0, so which means actually I'm changing the memory in the computer which contains this list. So I will change this one to 100, and A2 is changed to 100. And at the same time, because A is also pointed to this is the same memory in the computer, so A2 and A, where I change A2 is also changed because they are pointing to the same memory, a memory unit in the computer. So when I change this one, the other one also change. So this is why this assignment in Python do. So if I want to do so that's why we have a copy function here. Oh, where is it? Sorry. So that's why we need a copy function here. So that's to copy a list. You see here, C5. Let's run this line here. So C5 is equal to A copy. So at this time, C5 is copy the list of A. So this so just pay attention to the differences between the line 52 and line 26. So in this one, 52, it copied the memories. The computer copied the memories, and we get here C5. If I change C5 0 back to 1, only C5 changed, and A does not change because it's a copy of the unit. Okay, so I may forgot how to add item. So yeah, so add item, we use one method called append. So we use append to add item at the last of the list, or at the last place of the list. So we can see. So now A is a list and it's 122, 3, 4, 5. And if I append 3, let's run line 48. This 3 will be appended to the last element of A, to the end of A. Let's do it again. Like we'll append 4, we'll append 3, and append 4. So this is how append do. So why I write append here, being the one function that you need to know, and you need to understand, and you know how to use it, because append is this add item is very important when you do something like, for example, you first create a list which is empty list, and you want to add thing like, for example, it's in one certain category to the list. So that's when you use append. However, that they would know because there's just append one and it does not return. Like, for example, bigger, right? Oh, no. Okay. You see here? So now D is 2. So you want to first create an empty list and add something you want to add in the list. So that's why you must need to know append. Okay, so for other things, there will be some other details you can look it up when you need to know them. So it contains add item. So insert at certain places and remove one item from the list and pop the last item from the list. Delete the keyword delete to delete some items in the list. You can clean the list by list.clean, and join to list. For join to list, here. if we join two lists, it will just see here, just combine together. So C, D, and E combine together. So okay, so thank you. That's today's classes.